Hello and welcome to Workshop Studios. Today's project is right here, our Bissell vacuum cleaner. And as I understand it, it's not mine, so I'm helping out my family member with it, but it's not broken, but it's very grubby and needs a good cleaning. So we're not really having to fix anything, at least I hope, today, but we'll check that out. So first thing we'll do is give it a good cleaning, and then we'll see if it's working well. So join me as we work on our Bissell vacuum cleaner. All right, for a little bit more of a close-up, this is a Bissell 2-in-1 vacuum, lift-off technology. What else can I? Triple action brush. I guess I could find a model number on here someplace. Let me take a look. Well, here we go. Found it on the side. It's a model number 2043U. So let's see if we can get this cleaned up. By the way, I think the 2-in-1 means that it not only will act as a push vacuum cleaner, but you can also lift it off and use it like this with the little hose attachment here. That's a clever idea. So they call it a lift off, meaning that the vacuum component here will lift off and be an independent unit. So enough of the intro stuff. Let's go ahead and get this out of here and we'll clean up the gunk inside, although it looks pretty clean in there right now. But we'll do that, and then we can wash the insides of this out, and then we'll take the brushes off here and clean those out. All right, so let's go ahead and get this off of here. Let's see here. Wish to lift off. We'll try that first. Oh, okay. There we go. That might make it a little easier to work on. So we got that off of there. Now we need to open this up. And guessing it's something like this. There we go. Good. And we'll clean that out. Not too dirty. And there's a filter down in here that looks very grubby. So we'll get that cleaned out too. First we'll open this up, which I think goes something like this. So you turn this upside down, push on this gray lever back here, and there we go. Not too bad. But it looks pretty dirty down in there. I don't know if you can see down in here, that's all pretty dirty. But I think I'm going to just hose it out. And it probably says don't use water, but we're going to do that anyway, get a lot of the dust out of there. And now this filter, which is down here, looks like it's got a, oh, there we go, lift that off. Okay, and then the filters come off of here. They're very dusty. Let's use the brush on that one. Okay, we can clean that up too. There's another filter here that's kind of this type. All right, good. And this part, this is where the motor is down in here, I'm guessing. There's another filter here that is a, pull it off, and it's the filter in, so that filters out the air coming back to the thing. It doesn't look too bad, but we can dust that out a little bit too. So that'll be another one to look at. And what that means is we get good efficiency of air coming into it and air coming out of it. Or sorry, the other way around. Air coming in, air coming out, I guess. We'll figure that out. But this part we'll probably just use like Windex and some paper towels or rags to get this all cleaned off here. So the brushes are held in place. You got to actually take some screws out to get to those. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, maybe a couple of these come out too. Because what I want to do is get this black cover off of here and then check these out and make sure everything's clean inside there as well. All right, we'll just start taking screws out and see how many it takes to get this out of here. They come out pretty quickly. I always like putting them in these little magnetic dishes. Keeps them from rolling off the table and ended up going into the fourth dimension where all things that fall on the floor go to. especially when you need them. Was that Murphy's Law 1? If something hits the floor, it will roll. It'll roll to the least accessible place in the room. Something like that. All right, let's see if we got it here. Oh, there we go. Get that screw off of there. Well, let's see. Look at that. There we go. And yes, there's some crud in there. There's a little dust bunny, mouse dusty thingy, about the size of a mouse there. Not a mouse, but the size of a mouse. Okay, and you can see those brushes are pretty loaded up with hair and things. We're going to check out the edges over here. We maybe need to put a little oil on them just to keep them moving smoothly. So this belt here, right here, this belt is kind of holding it in there. So it'll pull off of there. It should pull off there easy enough. If you ever need to change the belt, this is how you do it. You get it out of there, but we don't need to take it out. So now you need to clean this up too. And then this now lets me get into this area, which is all really dirty and makes it look terrible. So we can clean this up as well. Well, good. Now we're down to the components we need to clean, and we'll just start working our way through them. Look at all that hair in there. I like to do it this way. It makes it a lot easier. Just go through here and cut all this hair. Give it a haircut. And that helps to break all this stuff up, because trying to peel that off of there without cutting it is a challenge. I imagine these are, reasonably pricey devices. I don't know. So they're worth cleaning up and not just throwing away because they're dirty. So after doing that, these kind of peel away a lot easier. So there you go. You can see it coming off of there. Still is going to require some, what would I call it? Some extra muscle to get these guys out of here, because the brushes get all full of hair too, like that. But when they're this full of hair, it can make the brushes so they're not effectively getting down and cleaning up the floor anymore. So it's a good idea to clean these out as often as you can. I know it looks like a disgusting job, but you can always wash your hands afterwards. So much better to clean it up, and then you've got a nice clean vacuum cleaner. Who's going to clean the vacuum cleaner? But it doesn't take too long to get it. So you can see already the hair is pretty much gone out of here. And then the other thing there's the big wad of hair. Can you see it there? The other thing I kind of like to use with these is I've got a light duty wire brush, and I kind of go through and it helps to get that hair out of there a little better. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. So this thing kind of gets the hair out, because it's pretty tough, and the hair collects in this, and just pull it out of there. So we'll go through and keep cleaning this up. So you see how I'm approaching this, and I think what I'll do is put you on fast forward now, so you can see me get this all cleaned up. You don't have to watch me go through all the little details. All right, well, that's pretty clean. And there's our pile of hair. But the next thing I want to look at is this is a bearing surface here. I hope you can see what I'm doing there. I'm turning this. That's a bearing surface, and that should spin more freely than that. So what I'd like to do is I want to get a little oil down in there if I can. I don't think it pulls off. Oh, maybe it does. Maybe it's moving there. Because a lot of times these bearing surfaces, you can pull these apart and kind of oil them up. But it looks like, if I look down in the center here, it looks like this centerpiece is not moving. So only put a drop of oil there and see if that frees it up. And the reason we want this to spin freely is because that belt has to turn this, and if there's any resistance, the belt may slip on this when you don't get turning very well. So we'd like that to just spin a little bit. So I'm using 3-in-1 oil. It's a good kind of a thin oil that helps get it down in. It's not really a penetrating oil per se, but it does get down in. It looks like it's making its way in there. Sort of moving more smoothly now. Let me keep going with that. I don't want to get oil up on this because the belt needs to ride on that and not have slippery surface. I mean, it's got to have traction there to make this thing spin. So now that drop of oil is staying on top a little bit more. And I keep spinning it, and hopefully it's pulling oil down into that bearing surface now. Maybe it's spinning more. Let me keep working on that, and I'll come back to you. All right, well, I brought this part of the unit over by the sink, and I figured what I could do is get it to clean up over here. So I just leaned it back there, and now what I'm going to do is just kind of give it a spritz. This is just water and dishwashing soap. Give it a spritz under here and maybe let that sit for a few minutes and help get all that dust off of there. But I also may go ahead and use just a regular brush. Now this is my shop one, so clearly I'd rather not use the kitchen one in here. This is pretty grubby in here. So I'm just going to kind of scrub it out. Not too hard because I don't want to scratch that plastic if I can help it. Yeah, that's better. It's already getting a lot of the scum off of there. I can feel it. So. All right, let's see how that looks. Oh yeah, already a big improvement. Yeah, nice. I suppose if you put down some towels or something, you could do this in your kitchen sink so you don't get grubby dirt all over the place. There we go. Now I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to clean the front of it here, same way. And once the plastic is more clean, I can see where the other dirt might have accumulated. Now there's no motors in here. The motor's in the other section, so there's nothing electrical to get too wet. So I'm just going to kind of rinse the whole thing. And that'll help to clean it up a lot. I am going to let this dry for quite a while, maybe a day or two, just to make sure it gets good and dry in there. Okay, so that's got a good start on it. There's some dirt right there I want to get. Hopefully you can see that, so I can see better, more clearly what I'm looking for. Give this another little bit of a scrub. Put some of these side bits cleaned up a little bit more too. You know, this is what vacuum cleaners are for. They're supposed to see all the dirty parts of the room. The floor gets real dirty, and they're supposed to clean it up. So this is them doing their job. There we go. Another scrub up here. And we'll rinse off. All right. see how that looks. All right, definitely better, no question about it. Oh yeah, that's definitely looking much better. So I think what I will also do is use some Windex, not soap per se. Well, it does have soap in it, but it also is meant to make kind of windows like this clearer. So I think I'll use some Windex on this as well. See how that does. All right, well, while this is drying off, and this is after a little bit more cleaning, it needs to do some drying, but I think I might have some plastic scratch remover stuff that I might use just to see if I can get that just a smidge cleaner. But let's work on the tank a little bit more and see if we can clean it up. All right, so this tank is pretty dirty looking in there, but it turns out this middle part comes out. I had to kind of give it a good tug to get it out of there, and I think I see why, because it's sort of locked in with some old dirt. So now that I have this all apart, I think I will go ahead and run this under the sink as well and get all of these parts cleaned up, and then I can let them dry off. All right, now, first of all, these are the washable filters, so we want to give them a good cleaning out as well. I'll use a little soap on those as well, just to make sure we lift all the dirt out. That's what they're there for, filter all the dirt out. Let that sit for a minute and let the soap really get in there and clean them up. And the instructions say to let these dry for at least 24 hours and don't put them in even if they're slightly damp, which I can understand. So that's the way I like to do it, is get enough suds in there so that you can have it actually kind of a sponge, and you make sure that it's really got in there and gotten that dirt out of those. Now, these parts are all just plastic, so I should be able to give them a good rinse, get them cleaned up a little better. I do have, excuse my reach here, I do have an old soft brush that I use sometimes to get in and clean things. Yeah, that's pretty good. This one you can see is very grubby looking. Should be able to clean that up pretty quickly. This is the cover we took off from the brushes. You might remember that. That's pretty good. Actually, there's some kind of grubby along in here. That might take a little stronger scrub than my light brush. So I've got an old toothbrush as well that I use sometimes. Get some of that off of there. Now this part you can't see, but I'm just being thorough. Do you guys like to be thorough out there? You can leave me a comment to say how thorough you are. Whether you're more or less thorough than me, how's that? We all have our level of cleanliness that we want. So I'm going to let that soak just a minute. Now this comes this one. This is just another one of those parts, but I'm going to give it a good scrub, see if I can clean it out. Good and dirty. I think, you know, part of what these vacuum cleaner manufacturers are trying to do is they want their, you know, kind of to see what's going on inside, which is great, but when it gets so dirty, it actually looks disgusting. So sometimes you don't want to see inside stuff. I may have to work on this one a little bit more. Oops, there's some hair in that one. So, well, let me work on that one. Let me give it a spritz of soap here. Let that soap do its thing. There we go. Let the soap run around in there. Yeah, it's working on it. I'll put that off to one side. Now let's do this one. Because this is the one you see the most. It would be nice if this one was nice and clear. This is where that soft brush comes in handy. Kind of slippery when you get this big old thing in there with soap all over it. So we'll do the soft brush on the outside and the inside. There we go. I think it's the first wave of cleaning done. All right, let's rinse that off and see how it does. Yeah, much better. I might give it a couple more scrubs here. Make sure everything is nice and clean, because I know how thorough you are all out there. So let me do that, and I'll bring you back after I get it 2 or 3 times through the scrubber here. I'm hoping you're appreciating how thorough I'm being, because I wanted to get down here and get these dirt bits that were down in here. So I've taken my long, I don't know what you call this thing, but push thingy, and I've shoved a rag all the way down in there. Let's see if I can do this for you here. So I go down there and I kind of do this because I can reach down in there, and look at that. Am I being thorough or what? Hopefully all you neat freaks out there will just be so impressed with what I'm doing here. Or not. So I think we got most of that, so let's clean that up here. We'll see where we're at with the rest of them. All right, work area cleaned up. Everything's over here in our little drying rack, and we'll leave it for a while. All right, so just wanted to show you real quick that this window here, if you might, was really, really bad. You couldn't see anything through it. And it was mostly dirt, but also stuff hits it, and it scratches this plastic. So to clean it up a little bit, I did use some of this on it, and it did. It took some of the scratches out. I could probably do more, but it's all right. Doesn't need to be perfect, but at least it cleans it up. So you can see the brushes working in there. All right, let's put her back together. So to put it back together, we slip this in here. I'm going to stretch the belt out a little bit to get it in there. It's not too bad. And this one comes down. This has got a little slot that it fits into. That's it. So now that's in there. Just verify it spins. Good. And this goes back on here. Screws go in. All right, now the blower part of it. It just snaps into place. This, and that's that button right there, if you remember. Just can't see what I'm pointing at. That's this button up here. When you push that, it allows this whole thing to come off. So that's in there. Let's keep going. I'm going to put the old filter back in. It actually looks pretty good. All right, good. Now it's time to assemble the canister part. So we've got the cyclone-y thing that goes in there. And I got this pretty well cleaned up. And uh-oh, who's that in there? You guys get out of there. There's Gumby. Hey, there's Pokey. And Blue Dog. You guys stay over there. So now this guy goes up into here. There we go. Pretty much like that. And this guy closes on him, I think. That's all there is to it. There we go, now I got it. And that closes up, and that's what that looks like. And then that, before I do that, let's put these filters back over here. Filters go on here, if you remember right. So they go in place, like that. This one comes up. Oh, forgot this one. This one goes. There we go. That's better. All right. And then this snaps on top of that. And suction tube has a little bayonet mount. It goes up here. There we go. And then it goes across the top like that. And plugs in down here. That's how we want to use it. There we go, like that. Now it is all back together. And here it is all cleaned up. You can see those nicely colored brushes down there, all clean in there. You can see it inside. Yeah, good. Now it's time to give it a test drive. All right, to give it a test drive, I got to have it pointed back. The brushes won't come on when it's straight up and down. So let's see what they look like here. And there we go. Yep, looking good. Yeah, pretty good suction. Let's test drive it on the carpet here. Well, and there we go. It's definitely picking stuff up. You can see it in there. There's a little fur ball from the carpet. So that is definitely working. So I think we got it working, and it looks like it's all back to being clean. Well, not so much now anymore. So I'll say that this project is all done. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye!